What if we could completely automate your content marketing from A to Z using AI and automation without any human involved, or, at the very least, it's pretty much done automatically, and you could have an editor who's a subject matter expert to just review items before they get published. But for this case study, let's assume we could do everything automatically using AI. Would that be interesting? So, what if we could do this? Step one, a news piece or a blog content is created automatically, published on our website automatically. Then, as a basis, that piece of content is then used to create social media posts for Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all done in the right conventions with hashtags, in the right tone of voice, and then leveraging the existing piece as a guide. And then to take it a step further, because we want to get as much value out of our original published piece, we can do guest posting. And in the example, we will guest post automatically to medium.com, which is a website where any author can publish article pieces. The value of that is, of course, it ranks on Google, it builds traction in terms of awareness, traffic, and it'll link back to your original piece. And the second guest posting platform that we are going to leverage is LinkedIn articles. If you're not aware, in LinkedIn, there's an option where you can click on publish article, where usually you would click, type post. There's an option for publish an article, and you can publish this on your individual LinkedIn profile, or you can do this for your company profile. Again, this will build not only value within the LinkedIn platform and ecosystem, but Google loves this content, right? And it actually can rank on Google for related keywords and drive traffic. So yeah, it's really a valuable strategy to have in your arsenal. So imagine if we did everything I just mentioned automatically. A news article, for example, hey, there's let's say today some kind of stock news came out, and the example I'm going to go over is like a finance client. They want up-to-date finance related news. So I'm just going to use a random example like BHP price shot up or shot down. We have an article that's very timely about that topic, completely automated, leveraging AI and automation. It's produced. Then we also quickly automatically have the social media posts that link back to this post. And then we have the guest posts that are created, which is basically a rewrite of the original, but completely unique and published onto Medium and LinkedIn articles. And then to make it really fun, we've added another piece in this case study is we're going to create a podcast episode on the basis of the original post. And so what we will do is automatically create a podcast transcript and then automatically have a AI voiceover create the podcast. And I'll even demonstrate how we clone a voice using this. So if that sounds fun, then continue watching. So let's get into this case study of what we did for a finance client. Uh, it's specifically around stocks, shares, news related content. So we're going to demonstrate how we create them live, automated news feed, news articles, and then using that as a basis to create the social media, guest posts, and a podcast. So let's get into it. Technical aspect of which is actually probably equally important is how do we manage everything and for the client. So we've created a simple Google Sheets to manage everything in terms of all the content that's published, and we've just created tabs for each aspect of things. So WordPress in this case means, because they're using WordPress, is where it's their own website where the actual blog content / news content is published. So this is the tab to check all the latest content pieces that have been published automatically. And then the Twitter tab is to check, what tweets have been made. And, if it's green, that means there's been a tweet for that specific line item. So, for example, if we go back to the WordPress tab, so, let's just use the example of the latest one, row 59. So if we go to row 59 here, and yep, so that means the tweet's also been made for that article. And then if you go to Facebook, same thing. These are all the Facebook posts that have been published to the Facebook page of the company. And then the LinkedIn post, same thing. These are all the posts that have been done. So, and then the Medium platform, the rewritten articles have also been posted. And there's a limit on how many you can publish per day. So that's why the automation stopped here. But by limit, I mean this is a limit placed by the Medium platform. You can only publish, I think, 15 a day. You don't want to spam. So this is something we need to work with the client to reduce the output of this. And LinkedIn articles. For LinkedIn articles, there isn't a direct API to publish the article directly automatically. So this process is a little bit semi-automatic. What we have done instead is we've created the article and automatically created a Google Doc of the article, and we've played. That link is here. So then, for example, the team would just review the article quickly and just copy and paste it into the LinkedIn platform, and it's pretty much published. And then the final piece is a podcast. We actually stopped this one for now, but this was also running for the client, and we thought it was a bit overkill to have a podcast for each single article, but it can be done, and this is where we demonstrated that. So here is the line item. So it takes the original content, then the automation will create a transcript of the podcast, and then the AI will produce the voiceover, and we automatically save the file right here. Just for context, let's just do a quick calculation on how many new blog posts were done on the 4th. On the 2nd. So there's 39 pieces of content, right? News content. So this may not be relevant for you. This could be potentially overkill depending on your industry. But the client is a news type of client. They produce live updated news. So then, having this many pieces may be okay for their industry. So just what sort of team do you think you would need to produce 39 news articles a day, right? For context, there's big competitors like Motley Fool, Market Index, Yahoo News. There's a plethora of all these big news type companies that their whole strategy is really just pumping out a lot of news. And conventionally, they've done this with big in-house teams of content writers or contractors. I know for a fact that some of these they hire, they've had up to 30 contractors on their team just pumping out content on a daily basis. And I've just demonstrated with this spreadsheet, we've produced 30 pieces of news content. Now, I haven't actually shown the output, so the quality, you may be wondering, what about the quality of the content? That can really be tailored depending on how in depth we go into the actual technical side, which I'll get into later. But just from a mathematical point of view, in this case, for this use case, it makes sense to have this many pieces of content a day because they're basically a news website in the finance sector. So, okay, so that's 30 pieces of content. that was automatically produced, right? How much do you think that would save, just from a productivity point of view, without having to hire a team, right, of writers, if it was equivalent in terms of quality, right? It's insane, right? The value of that, right? And now, so that's just the actual, content of each article, but we've obviously gone one, two, three, four, five, six. We've 7x'd it, right? Because we've taken that piece and we've really kind of done the content distribution angle, where we've distributed that, recycle the content, right? Is another way of using the marketing jargon, but we've created the Twitter post, Facebook post, LinkedIn post, created a rewrite on Medium platform, rewrite for a LinkedIn article. We've created a podcast as well, right? So essentially in one day, we've created 210 pieces of content. So that's 30 articles times 7. And, for this kind of client, right, for a news site, assume they do that every day, and then you just times that by 7, right? So in a week, we're producing 1,470 pieces of content pieces, right, as a collective. How much, how many team members would you really need to do that, right, at a high quality level, is the question that you need to ask yourself. So I just wanted to kind of give you context on how this can scale, to really build your business, if it makes sense. Now, you may not have this kind of a model where you need to have this many pieces of content, but it applies for your typical business that needs, like 2 to 4 pieces of content a week. And then you also want to quickly distribute it across the socials and platforms. And we haven't even gone into like video and stuff in this yet, but we can really scale this strategy. How did we actually set up that whole automation of producing blog posts, social media posts, guest posting, and even a podcast, right? So this is the whole automation workflow that we created for this. This was custom created for the client based on their requirement. I'm going to keep it very simple and explain the whole workflow. So, step one, all we're really doing here is we are picking up the latest news articles in real time, that are related to the client's industry. So let's focus on the example. It was ASX News. So we identified the top 3 to 5 news websites that are already producing a lot of news content. We've tapped into their latest articles using an RSS feed, and the moment we find a new piece from from one of these RSS feeds, then that article is fed to ChatGPT, where we have a custom prompt. The custom prompt will review the written article and completely rewrite it with a new title, with a new structure, all in the tone and style of what the client wants. And even down to the structure of whether we the intro, the key points, the takeaways, the conclusion. Like, it's very tailored to what the client wants, right? So we we do that. Then once that piece is created, I'm skipping over JSON. It's just a way of passing over the data. But ultimately, what's happening here is we are publishing this new rewritten article onto the client's WordPress website, in the right category, in the right section, automatically formatted perfectly with the title and then the structure. And then so from here all the way till this point, it is publishing the article. That alone is kind of like a basic automation that is pretty valuable on its own. Um, and but we obviously take it to the next level, right? With the whole recycling and distribution strategy. So that spreadsheet that I showed you this is where that comes into play now. What happens in the automation now is the post that we just published is then added to the spreadsheet, right? So that we can track it, right? So the spreadsheet's purpose is really for the client to be able to track progress of everything without having to go into the back end and look at the technical side. But essentially, what the automation does is it populates the spreadsheet every time a blog post is published, right? And now this is useful because now we leverage this spreadsheets as like a data center um, to help us recycle the content and then create the social media posts, guest posting, and the podcast. All right, that's what this whole part is right here. um, you know, to simplify the complicated look of this, all it's doing here is ChatGPT. We've created a custom prompt to tell ChatGPT to review the article or blog post or news article that's been published. Now create a relevant tweet, and then that'll be passed to our workflow for Twitter. And then one for Facebook, it'll be passed over to the Facebook uh, platform, and then one for LinkedIn, and then the other two are for Medium platform, the article publishing, and then the LinkedIn articles production that goes into the Google Doc, and then the podcast, right? So each of these are actually workflows as well. So it's not in this here, but this is like a tag to tell our automation run the Twitter workflow, run the Facebook workflow, run the LinkedIn workflow, run the podcast workflow, and so on, so that everything is done seamlessly, all combined. So here's the example of the Facebook workflow that we have, that the bigger workflow triggers, right? So once the Facebook workflow is triggered, then the Facebook tab is used to extract data from the original article or news post, and then ChatGPT will review that and then create a relevant Facebook post, ideal for the Facebook platform, with a link back to the original article. And once that's done, it will automatically update the sheet, so the Facebook tab, and then we'll also populate some other data into that sheet. So this is how it works. And similar to this, we have individual workflows for all the other social media platforms, guest posting, and the podcast. And then they all tie into the bigger AI automation workflow that we have set up. So here's a quick example of one of the outputs. Here's a title. Here's the news content. This was tailored for the client's requirements and the structure that they wanted. And now we'll go into the distribution or content recycling of creating the social media post that links back to that. So if this is on the same topic, links back to the same page. This is the Facebook post. This is the LinkedIn post, links back to the same piece. Twitter, and here's the actual podcast episode, and we actually ended up using my voice. So what we've done is we've cloned my voice, and here's the output, which is also pretty crazy. Welcome to the Bull Street Podcast with your host, Anukul. Today we're diving into the exciting news of Treasury wine shares. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy, right? So we've gone over how we completely automated content marketing for a client with a very unique use case, finance sector, wanted timely news content, and then wanted that to be distributed across social, guest posting, and also wanted to have a podcast with mini episodes of each news item. And as I've shown, we've been able to produce that. And from a management point of view, there's a simple Google Sheet that can be used to track progress across the board. Now the question I have for you is, hopefully that's given you a light bulb moment of what's actually possible practically using AI and automation. There's a lot of buzz about AI, but here's a practical example. And how fast could your business expand if it had the right automations, had the right AI systems in place? What costs could you cut? How much time would your team save? How much could you scale faster? What mundane tasks could be completely automated? How should your team actually be structured moving forward? Uh, you know, Theoretically, if most of the work can be done by AI, the team should really only be focusing on strategic or highly creative aspects of the marketing function. And I'm speaking from experience, right? So I'm head of marketing of Australian Bond Exchange, FP Markets, both in the finance sector. So this is my domain of the challenges I've had is building teams to scale marketing content, managing paid campaigns, the whole shebang. So I already have that insight of the pain points of what the challenges are. So but the fact that we have these new solutions to really tackle those challenges, it's a really exciting time. But these are cutting edge solutions that not many have really adapted yet. So you could be one of the first and take the lead on some of these automations and AI. It's only going to get better with time. And I am looking to work with a few key clients, with the skill set I have with my marketing as well as AI and automation background. I think it could be a killer combination for helping just a few select clients. So if you are, yeah, just click on a link below and it will lead you to one of our landing pages, and you can easily schedule a strategy session. And as I was mentioning, I've been head of marketing of ABE, Australian Bond Exchange, FP Markets. In both cases, I built the whole marketing team from scratch, including, agencies, internal teams, everything you can think of, basically. Also worked as a account director at some of the big marketing firms and worked with finance clients like Centuria, BDO, and some other Fortune 500 clients like Iron Mountain and a few others. So these are just a few, just to give you context that I do have marketing background and I've leveraged that to really build these bespoke AI solutions for clients in the finance sector.